All right. Hey, welcome. It is 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. It
Nice.
is time for Sci-Fi Distilled. Welcome back, Mary Beth, and welcome
Hi.
Captain Phil, who is, I guess, trying to show us that he owns a
He has it
DVD
all.
and a CD, and I guess we're impressed.
I'm here. I'm here to address a topic of tremendous gravity.
So yeah, this is Phil reached out to us, wanted to do this. Apparently, this is a movie that he particularly enjoys, so we're going to talk about that. I didn't ask you, Mary Beth. Do we have any
I
news?
do have four tiny tidbits of news.
So there's
we
news. Let's get to the news.
we can fly through that, and you guys are more than welcome to comment on our tidbits. Tidbit number one, friend of the Star Trek set tour, William Shatner, will be honored at the 52nd Saturn Awards ceremony on Sunday, February 2nd. For this Lifetime Achievement Award, the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films honors individuals in either film or television series for their outstanding work, to honor their illustrious careers as artists and icons, and for those who helped further the genre entertainment in the industry. And if that's Shatner. If Shatner was also described by the Academy in their announcement as a living legend. Congratulations to Mr. Shatner.
He really is.
He
really is.
He is. And he's already won a lifetime career award from the Academy of the Saturn Awards. So he's just in when it comes to sci-fi, he's a juggernaut, I think. But
and anything, I mean, he's just, when you look at his whole, work, his career, from the earliest of things when he was on Twilight Zone, Star Trek aside, all this stuff, he just keeps going. He's like that little bunny. He's the Energizer Bunny.
He's a rocket man burning.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been to space.
No,
he's been to Antarctica now.
Yes. Yes. Phil, he hosted the Saturn Awards back in 1980, and that's where we first heard him sing Rocket Man.
Yeah, I saw that live. I saw that.
You didn't just sing it. He kind of did like a beatnik poetry version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And then the comedian Chris, I forget his name, did a Letterman where he repeated that word for word with the beats. You can find that. Chris Elliott
Chris Elliott,
did it on Letterman like maybe a decade and a half later or something like that, and was hilarious.
The one thing that I think I could say about Bill Shatner is that he's not afraid to do anything.
No,
and I think in his mind, these are things that he thought were, we laugh at it now, but this is him trying to, just reach out. I don't think he was trying to be something he wasn't. It's just, if you meet the guy and you talk to him, you start to understand when he does things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it makes more sense.
He's literally grasping life. Like it's amazing. It's amazing.
It's funny you bring this stuff up, because not to jump the gun, but in the back of my mind, when I was watching this week's movie and brought it to your attention, some things Shatner said had a lot to do with my pushing, and asking you guys to about this.
Keep that in the back of your mind.
There is a connection here, so it's funny that you're bringing that up. And
all right, we will hit on that. Jeff Rubel saying we should all be that frail when we're 93.
No kidding, I'm telling you, he's like a 70-year-old.
Yeah, he really is. News item number 2 in my very sporadic segment. I watched it, so you don't have to. I'm finally watching Severance. Oh my God! Why didn't you guys tell me how good Severance was?
Brilliant. It's brilliant. I love it.
Didn't like it.
I love it. Season 2 just kicked off last Friday. I'm just getting caught up in season 1, and then I will dive right into season 2. My review is yes, you should watch it. Watch it if you love depressing psychological sci-fi mystery thrillers, as I do.
It's got a prisoner vibe to it.
Yes. It has a prisoner. Like, you're trying to figure out what is going on here. Yeah,
it's very strange.
Yeah,
speaking of which, Silo had its final episode. Did you watch it?
I did.
It was a very, very cool.
I actually have Silo news.
At the end, the last little bit was like, oh, I think the next 2 seasons are going to be very good, because I think they're going to go back in time.
I think they are too. Yeah, that last little.
They set up for 2 characters way too much to leave it alone.
Just to be like these 2. Yeah.
So Silo, I don't give anywhere more away than that. Definitely if you have Apple, watch Silo.
Well, Rizzo, that is the perfect segue, because my next news item number 3. Last week, you and I were talking about Silo, and you mentioned this exact issue. you were saying, and many people have said, those of us who are watching Silo have noticed how dark the show is, and I don't mean bleak and depressing, although it can be a little.
It is a little bit.
It is like the DP and the gaffers have made some questionable decisions to light this thing by a single candle and a flashlight. Like it's just it's so dark.
Too dark,
Luckily,
in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Luckily, series showrunner Graham Yost has acknowledged the issue. He kind of gave a reason for it, which I don't know if I believe or not, and promises us season 3 will be much brighter. In the meantime, he says, turn the brightness up on your TV.
I'm going to do that for one TV show. Do you know
exactly right? And then turn it back down. He also confirmed, and this is a tiny little spoiler, very tiny, that we will be returning to Silo 17 in season 3. So
I figured as much.
It's on my to-do list.
Yeah, you should check it out, Phil. I think you'd like. Like if you're enjoying Severance, I think you'd like Silo.
Yeah,
I'm just amazed how great a lot of the stuff on Apple TV turned out to be. My nephew had been trying to get me to watch Apple TV.
They did Foundation,
forever.
they did Silo, they did
Severance, and well, for all mankind
is definitely
For All Mankind.
Show.
Yeah, they are cranking out some amazing television. All right, last news item. Let's talk about it. You ready? Here we go. This Friday, not tomorrow, but the day after, Section 31 drops. Casey Roll stars as Rachel Garrett. So we're finally going to see the Enterprise Sea Captain Rachel Garrett. And of course, we got Michelle Yeoh coming back as Philippa Georgiou. Rizzo, what do you think? You got high hopes?
No. No, I mean, it's Discovery. And again, I don't want to, if you love Discovery, if you like that, great. I'm not, it's your thing, but this is Discovery Universe. I actually liked her character.
Yeah.
So I like Michelle Yeoh. I think she's great.
Yeah, I like Michelle in general.
So I don't want to like say, so I don't, I'm going to watch it. It's not like I'm not going to watch it, but I'm not like optimistic. I think it's going to be more Kurtzman stuff. I don't know. It's not going to fit Star Trek universe very well. I'm sure it's going to be outside of character for Starfleet, and Section 31 alone was really a weird. When we first saw it was in DS9, right?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be this, this dark secret. Yeah, it was always this dark secret kind of organization, the CIA kind of black ops, which didn't fit Starfleet's, the Federation, any of that. It never fit yet. It was cool that they was there. A lot of us liked it. And I'm sure I mean, and then of course they doubled down in Star Trek Enterprise, and they did more with Section 31. And then, of course, now we're seeing it even fleshed out even more with Discovery. Did they, have they overused it like Mirror Universe stuff? I don't know. We'll see. I'll see. We'll watch it. I'm going to try. I'll go into it with an open mind. I'm just not. I'm a huge
fan of the character. I'm not super crazy about Section 31. I haven't been able to finish Discovery. No judgment. I just, and I'm kind of like bummed out that they canceled Lower Decks, and that sort of like put me off Star Trek for a while. When I read that news, I kind of stopped watching.
It was the cheapest Star Trek for them to make too. So why would you take them? One of the most popular of your shows.
I say to myself, when I heard that news, I say to myself, somebody made some money on that decision. There's somebody out there, and I tell you who didn't make any money, were the actors or the writers. Somebody,
it's funny you bring, because I think I'm wondering if Kurtzman killed it because it was doing better than his other stuff.
That's petty.
I don't know. I
remember they had to cancel Star Trek: The Next Generation after 7 seasons because they didn't want to pay the actors anymore.
I was watching.
I was thinking the same sort of thing here.
All right. One last thought on this, because I want to get to Gravity, but I was watching Lower Decks today, and I had this all of a sudden, in these idiot moments, like you're like, oh my god, I never put this together. These old scientists, TOS.
Oh yeah. Wait a second, you just got that?
Well, it was in an episode that I didn't pick it up the first run.
Dude, you got to turn in your nerd card.
Yeah,
what I'm saying. It's one of those things that's so stupid that I never picked it up. But there was but that's what Boimler was calling people from that era. Spock is, they call them TOS. They're like TOS.
That's why Lower Decks is basically Star Trek's The Simpsons. I mean, there's just so much material out there for them to do. They've shot themselves in the foot.
I agree. Maybe they'll bring it back. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. All right. So
maybe they'll have a spin-off of it, or maybe some kind of, because I don't know. We should maybe, if we ever have Dayton Ward back on, we could ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sue's asking, how do you make money on accumulation? I don't know.
my one hope, I think I said this to Mary Beth at some point, either on the radio or on one of these shows. What are your hopes for the Section 31 movie? And I was like, I'm hoping Michelle Yeoh walks around in that outfit that she was wearing at the end of Discovery and just
The black
angry
leather.
walks up and down the hallways and yells at people. That's basically what I wanted.
No, that might be
So,
what we're getting. We
She's
don't know.
probably, she was one of the best characters, certainly on Discovery.
I know when she has that whole attitude on, I'm just like, yes, ma'am.
The thing is, she was.
Phil
I know
has
we're
a-
way off topic. And again, the thing was when she was playing Captain Giorgio, she played that perfect. She fit the part so perfectly, and that here she was, the flip in the mirror, being the evil, and she played that perfect. Like she fit both universes so perfectly. She really is a good actress.
She is.
Okay.
Where's Rizzo? What are we drinking tonight while we talk about
Just love the angry walk. I love the Michelle Yeoh angry walk.
Gravity Martini. This has got. We had one similar because I remember something we else did with Tang. So, so we got Tang, triple sec, orange flavored vodka. It's a very orangey drink, and prepared Tang. And you basically, you do the. You get the ring.
Did Kowalski drink that? Did Kowalski drink?
I don't know.
That
I can get a picture of it. So I got our little astronaut Kowalski zipping around in his jetpack. So anyway, all right, we caught up on everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Gravity. So I have to admit, Phil, I hadn't seen this. I had to watch it the other day because I'd never watched it.
And okay.
So it wasn't make me watch. I didn't watch it in 2013 when it came out because I'm not a big Sandra Bullock fan. I think when she does comedy, I think she's fine. I don't like her in serious stuff, but that's a personal thing. So I avoided it. I also kind of avoided it because I knew I was going to get nauseous with the mistakes about how space works.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
And but the thing was they were touting how great and accurate it was, and then I watched it I'm like, this wasn't accurate at all.
Yeah, Neil
I'm
deGrasse
not an old scientist at all.
No, exactly. Neil deGrasse Tyson has done a video kind of ripping it. But here's the funny thing: is Neil actually he loved the show. He loved the movies. Like that was a fun movie. It was really accurate.
Okay, so let me back up though before y'all just crucify me that love this movie. I do see how it would have a different impactful effect in a movie theater, particularly an IMAX theater. I could see where me watching on a 65-inch TV is not going to have the same.
It was still great on a widescreen TV, but it was great in the theater.
I can imagine in the theater the visuals were quite intense.
Yeah,
but
they were.
Again, there was just so many, as I feared, there was just so many blatant mistakes.
Well, you see, it's not a movie about space. It's a movie that happens to take place in space, but it's a movie about the Sandra Bullock character. It's a movie about Ryan, and it's a movie about her journey, and it happens to take place in space.
Yeah.
And I think because when I first saw it, I was like, space stations can't be that close together. There's no Chinese space station. This is some sort of alternate universe. The space shuttle program is coming to a close. There, and all this other stuff. They're not blowing up satellites, on purpose, that sort of thing. And then it turned around after I had a conversation with my buddy Bill Latham. He was like, Phil, don't go into this movie thinking you're going to see an outer space movie. It's not about that. This is a movie that's using the language of film to tell a story. And it just happens to take place in space. And if you go through on the DVD, if you go through the extras and stuff like that, there's a lot of material on the this is the Blu-ray on the second disc that really patterns it out for you, and you can get lost in that would never happen, this would never happen, whatever. And it's not that. It's about someone coming back to life. She was dead when she went up there, and she returns to life, but she was dead when she was up there.
Now, okay, I know what you're saying.
No, because of her daughter. She was emotionally dead.
But they really didn't. They mentioned it, and it was talked about, but I see. I didn't really. I mean, I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree with that probably, but I don't think they did it very well.
I think they did it great.
I don't think it took too long for us to realize that she didn't really give a crap about life, but yet she was fighting for life so hard. You think if somebody that was just like, my daughter's dead, I got nothing, I have no family.
When she shut
Screw it,
down,
why am I fighting to live so hard?
She did give up. She shut down the Soyuz and started drifting off and hallucinated him coming in the door. That was her giving up.
Well, that was her saying, "Yeah, I'm done. I don't have a chance at this point." And then she had that epiphany about the rocket.
I remember that scene in the theater, and I just about fell out of my chair. I freaked out when he opened the door.
Yeah, we all did. We all gasped.
Honestly, I wish I wish that wasn't. I figured it was a dream, but I was like, I hope this is right. This isn't a dream. That he actually, because I wanted him to live. I mean,
well, he was great. You know what? He was amazing. He was perfect. And
Danny Ocean is this, though.
I thought he was amazingly. He reminded me of Story Musgrove so much. The way he was up there, the way he talked about what he was seeing. I went to one of the I think it was the United Fan Con. I remember, I think it might have been in Springfield, Massachusetts. And Story Musgrove was one of the guests. And he did a talk about working on the Hubble. And I'm sitting in the talk, and I'm looking at him the way Brock looks at Nurse Joy in Pokemon. There are hearts coming out of my eyes, okay? Because I'm like, this man's amazing, And it was so great. And I said to him, when you're working on the Hubble and all this stuff is going on, how do you're miles above the earth, you're this far above the earth. How do you have a chance to enjoy it? And he goes, this is how you do it. One turn, one, then you look to your right, two, you look, three, and that's how he took it all in. And that's the vibe I got from the Clooney character, where there's a man, an astronaut, who's at peace with himself. Okay. He lives his life. And when he says to Ryan, you have to let me go, also very symbolic, he knew he was doing the math from the minute NASA said, there's this stuff coming around, get inside, hurry up, get inside. He was doing the math in his head from that moment on, that he knew his life was over. And he was at peace with that. It was Sandra, the Ryan character, who had unfinished business on the Earth. And he was there to facilitate her going back, and hence the hallucination. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah,
it was absolutely brilliant.
Keep in mind that she gave up only because she felt at that point she didn't have any hope of survival, because she said the rocket wouldn't fire, was out of fuel, and she had no way to get to the Chinese station. So she, at that point, I don't think that she was saying, well, I'm just going to die because I don't care anymore. I think she realized, I'm going to die because I'm out of options, and I'd rather just die. Because basically, she put the O2 down, and she would just kind of fall asleep and die from O2, and I think that would probably be the most humane way to kill yourself in that situation, other than just opening the freaking door, which was the only part I knew it was a dream, because he just opens the door. It was
such a moment. It was such a moment in the film. It was such a shocking moment. There's two moments like that. There was the door opening scene, and there was a scene where she makes it into the ISS before the fire, and she's in the airlock, and she takes a moment, and she's framed with the circular airlock, and that's when she's in the womb. And if you do the director's extras on the DVDs, the director says this is what this movie is about. This is what he wanted. He wanted to show her being born, and that's what the movie's about. And then there she is, as if she was in utero, she's in an amniotic sac floating. And yeah, I thought that was like a really profound and brilliant moment. And of course, it gets echoed again at the end of the movie when she is born. And at the very end, of course, when she's coming out of the lake, that's basically evolution. That's basically, us, coming out the way she was supposed to come out a certain way. And that was, us as a species getting our land legs, evolving from that, whatever. And there's so many little things like that in the film. You're absolutely right that it's completely inaccurate, but not really a film about space. It's a film about
I
her.
guess if you
coming
look
to
at it
terms
that
with the
way, if you look at it the way
soul-crushing
you're
women
looking
out
at it, I get it. But see, I'm more. I always look at
there. No,
things.
I totally agree because
when
I
things
felt the
start to
same
not
way.
make sense, I don't really start. I start to give a crap about
Yeah.
her whole
So
motivation. The one thing that
you-
really bugged me, she kept taking her helmet, like she was in the Russian. She got in the Russian spacesuit, right? She kept taking her helmet off. Why? And would you ever take your helmet off? You're like, I'm not taking my helmet off because I don't know when the next piece of shrapnel is going to rip through this.
There's that. I wouldn't. If there's shrapnel coming, I wouldn't.
And the thing that would drive me, like, she's literally like the space station is going to crash the Chinese one, and like, but there's still like zero, like nothing was moving, like the helmet was still floating even when she was going through re-entry, and it's like
It was, I think
have been slammed against the back of whatever.
I think there's a moment in it was either I think it was Spider-Man 2, maybe it was Spider-Man 3, where Tobey Maguire keeps taking his mask off every 5 minutes, and I think this was like a filmmaker's option that that they wanted to have her face there. They wanted to have her.
I get it.
They could have done the entire film. The way it was filmed, they could have had the entire film with her in the helmet.
I agree. I agree. It was just to show her face, and they always do that stuff. It's the same reason why every time you see spacesuits, there's lights on the inside shining right in their eyes. Because we want to see the actor's face. So I get it. But again, it was a niggle that kept I would never be taking my helmet off. In that
there's a bunch of things.
Nope.
Rizzo, I think you are right. I mean, Phil, I absolutely agree with the filmmaker on what he made. It's absolutely a story of rebirth. But Rizzo, I think you're right. I don't know that the message quite got across to people because there's a segment of people out there who have decided, no, they all died right at the very beginning. And the entire rest of the movie was, I don't know, the hallucination of a dying mind. I don't know.
Well, that's my theory. That's my theory on the 3 seasons of Picard. That he's sitting in a Captain Pike chair with the 3 buttons going beep beep beep, hallucinating the whole 3 seasons.
Oh, he was on Talos 4.
Yeah. I like the show better that way when I think of it.
So I mean, I guess it's funny because I did get it that she's like got a second chance, and that's kind of how I looked at it and everything like that. And I guess the Soyuz rockets or capsules dock, are they designed to float if they land in water? I guess not. That thing sunk like a stone.
The water came out.
Well, I mean, the American capsules had flotation that would come out.
I think we've had some sink.
I really don't know that much about the Soyuz rockets. Were designed to land on land, not water. So I didn't know if they had a contingency in case it did land in a lake.
No, they always wanted to land on land. No, I don't think so.
Apollo capsule sank. The Liberty Bell 7.
Well, that did sink because that was the whole Gus Grissom and the bolt that blew and that whole.
Listen, David Alexander, they don't have tornadoes like that on Mars.
They don't. That was like the one, and they go, that is the one thing that they admit that that was not accurate was the sandstorm on the Martian. So I can give them the one.
I still love you, David Alexander.
When it's kind of one thing after another, and it was because to me, I mean, I get what you're saying, but to me, the movie was supposed to be this kind of thrill ride. Like every time you think she's got a chance of survival, another wave of comes around and blows the crap out of her.
She should have been killed.
She should have been dead 20 times over.
Did you guys ever notice when she would open a hatch, it would blow out, which is probably accurate. The blowing
out. No, that's actually not. That's actually they said they addressed that in the extras. That is not accurate. That was a dramatic.
Either way, the fact that they chose to depict that, and how was she hanging on to she must have.
Well, the thing is, the first time she should have never, because if you weren't expecting it, you wouldn't be hanging on that tight.
Every time she opened
the second time, if you lucked out and it didn't fly off, you're right. The second time, you might be saying, "Okay, I'm going to hang on to this door really tight." So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. The whole thing with Clooney when he's like, "Oh, the rope, you got to let me go," and I'm like, "Why didn't she just yank him?" And he would have come back to her. Yeah, there was like so many things that just like come on.
I think he was doing the math. If she had yanked him, I think the rope behind her would have let go.
It's actually go on. It's been debunked, Phil. I'm right. The science is saying they could have just and it would have
She
she
just
would have come
hauled
back.
him in gently, and then the
And
two of
yeah,
them
it was
climbed
yeah.
the rope back to the.
The other thing is the other thing is the way things stop spinning. It's like, as you know, in space, things in motion tend to stay in motion. There's not enough gravity drag, if you would, to stop these things that were spinning. Like she was like spinning, and then all of a sudden she's like spinning slower.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
no,
The
she's
lost
still
momentum.
spinning.
Are you
I
talking
don't know
about?
what
Are you
you
talking
think.
about the scene where she just released herself from the space shuttle arm before Clooney picked her up, and we generally got closer and closer to her until we were like inside her helmet? Is that the scene you're talking about there, Michael?
Right. No, my thing is right as soon as she detached from the broken arm, she was winging.
Yeah.
She was
Well,
like,
I think we were like, and I watched that. I watched this movie like 5 times in the last month, and I really love the way they made that, and they made that sequence, and I think it made me think of we wanted to change perspective, so we wanted to start to see what was happening from her point of view, and I think so we could take it in as an audience. We were getting there, but you were getting slowed down like that. But the thing it really made me think about when I was watching that, especially multiple times, is the mission that Neil Armstrong was on when he was a Gemini pilot.
oh, with the
He docked to the Yajima, right? And it went into this crazy roll, and they had to
those
like.
guys were very lucky, but because they were test
He
pilots,
was-
and good at what he did.
It was almost the same thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, but
And-
he had control jets to try to counteract that. She had nothing.
yeah,
Doc,
but
Doc
I,
is
but
defending storms on Mars.
Yeah,
but
from
I
what I
think
understand,
Doc is
the
a
storms
completely
just aren't very violent.
It's a completely different
There's
atmosphere.
not
Our
enough air
atmosphere,
pressure.
yeah, exactly.
That's what
This
they're talking
pressure
about.
is completely different.
well, how come one of these storms hasn't picked up the Pathfinder and thrown it around like
Because
Dorothy's house, huh?
I think it happens, but I don't think it happens as
They
violently as
just
they
don't have the
depicted
same
it.
atmosphere we
Yeah,
do. So.
it's not thick enough. Not thick enough. Remember those Brookstone commercials? No, am I that old?
I remember
I'm
Wider
the
is
only one that
better.
remembers the Brookstone commercials, the cream cheese.
Doc says they're extremely violent. All right, I guess.
All right, I'll take your word for it. I'm not
Rogan,
going to certainly argue that. This is
on the atmosphere of Mars and the storms on Mars.
from when I've seen stuff about that they said was the only thing that they felt was inaccurate was the violence of the storm that stranded him in the first place. Anyway, so what else you got, Phil?
What movie are we talking about? I also love the sound design. I love the way they did the music. I love the sound design. It took a while for me to get the music inside my head and appreciate it. And I think in this case, when I watched the interview with the composer, the way I felt like he was a true collaborator in this, where he was doing the soundtrack, like when she's grabbing onto the Chinese space station and it's skipping through the atmosphere and it's starting to go down, which is one of my favorite sequences of the film. The music is mirroring when she touches the actual space station, so it's as if there's air inside, because he's like, yeah, there's no air, you're not going to hear anything. And there's an option on my version of the movie, where you can watch it with no music, because so I haven't done that. I didn't do it. I was going to do it before the show, and then
it was quiet. Is what it was.
It was quiet.
Quiet.
But I was thinking about that, but I don't think I want to do that yet. I think I need to have something new to do.
The other
some
thing,
point in the future,
and maybe Doc can, since he's watching this and he's the NASA expert. The other thing I think that confused me was this complete communication blackout with NASA. Like we were talking to a Mercury, and without satellites and stuff, we had all those stations. Now maybe they aren't operating anymore, those tracking stations where we were able to talk to them as they orbited. But I find it odd that they couldn't come up with, especially when they were, maybe they did with the suit probably doesn't have enough power to transmit. So
Well,
I don't
actually,
know.
that's a
It
good
seemed odd
question.
that they had the communication was
Michael,
completely blocked out. Even when she was in the Soyuz, she was talking to the crazy
so
Russian dude or something.
Dr. Alexander, is there analog backup, or are we completely reliant on the satellites nowadays? And the reason why I ask, and because maybe you can weigh in on this too, Neil deGrasse Tyson seems to think that it could be possible if one satellite somehow gets damaged, not gets shut down.
That's what they're saying. There was a chain reaction. A whole
Exactly.
bunch of them got taken
Neil
out.
deGrasse Tyson seems to think that it is possible for one satellite to then damage another one, which then could damage another one, because we got a lot of satellites going on up there. But what happens to communications? I don't think, would we ever have a loss of communications?
Yeah, I could understand when it was just them in the suit and like the ISS or the shuttle was damaged and maybe that was
and they were like floating through.
When she was like in the Soyuz and clearly the radio worked, I find it odd that she couldn't communicate at that point with somebody, even Kazakhstan.
Well, she was well. And this kind of like, I don't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing. It sort of like takes me out of the movie a little bit. One of the extras in the 2-disc Blu-ray set is you see the other side of that conversation.
I have that link. I will post that link right now. That was the saddest thing I've ever watched.
That's what? What'd you say?
Rizzo?
I'm sorry.
I watched the link. I watched the other side of that conversation. It was the saddest thing I've ever watched. I'm going to post it for you guys. Watch it with your own. Watch it with a little steel cage around your heart.
So synopsize it for me there. Like what was actually happening, because it didn't make a lot of sense to me. It just looked like somebody that was kind of crazy.
Let me just get this up.
It pushes me out of the movie and the story a little bit, but go ahead.
A little bit, yeah, I agree. She was speaking with an Inuk from Greenland, so
our sworn enemies.
Yes. So he's like I don't want to say the word Eskimo. He's a native of Greenland, and they're up there on the ice, and he's up there, and he's out. He's not inside a building. He's out. And he's got all his pack dog, like his sled dogs, and he's got the wife and the kid, and they're all doing their thing. And he's saying, I don't know if I can tell you, it's so sad. He's saying that the one dog is old and she's hurting, and he's going to have to shoot her. And he does. Yeah. After he stops talking.
He has a radio that can
talk. Yeah. He's talking away to her. And then when he's done, he goes and he shoots the dog. It is. Oh.
I'm glad they didn't put that in, because that would have no. It
was definitely a DVD extra.
Dr. Alexander has answered our question. We can get away from the dogs because it really bugs me. He says it takes a dedicated.
Put it up so everybody can read it.
Yeah, put it up. Dedicated network antenna. If lost, the ground station is out of action. Well, that's bad. But some satellites would have limited line of sight. Well, 20 minutes. Oh Lord. Well, she wasn't in Mars. She was just in Earth orbit. So maybe.
Yeah, she was only in Earth orbit. We're not. Yeah. That's what I said. So we had tracking stations back in the 60s that went all the way around the world. So I don't know. Like I said, those probably aren't used anymore. Anyway,
it depends on what's happening. It depends on what's happening in the ISS and the what was it? The Shenzhou was the name of the Chinese station.
Yeah. The Tiangong. The Shenzhou was the
little
shuttle. The Tiangong was the big one.
Was the Soyuz? Okay.
Yeah.
It depends on what happened in there, because there was definitely damage in both stations before she got there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when she was in the Soyuz itself, she's literally talking to this guy. So we know the radio's working and he's hearing her. We assume, right? So the radio's working Earth to the Soyuz.
Yeah, the radio's working. She just put the wrong guy.
My guess is why didn't NASA pick that up, or the Russians pick it up? Because imagine in this situation, it would be a universal world. Anybody that could help her communicate with her would be involved.
Happened to get someone who didn't speak English. However, there have been instances of like ham radio operators talking to the ISS.
I'm just saying that as organizations that would be initially, this disaster happens, Kazakhstan would be on alert. The Chinese would be on alert. Clearly, the Chinese were. They bailed out of their own station. They were gone.
You know, we don't actually know what went on.
What I'm saying. I think everybody would be listening for those frequencies.
I would hope so. You're right, Rizzo. I would hope so, but we don't actually know quite what was going on the planet. Because the very first thing we heard is that it was a missile. It was a Russian missile that took out the satellite.
Well, they did it on purpose. It was a spy satellite that had gone dark. They were pretty clear about it. They said the Russians shot down their own satellite because it was a spy satellite that they basically wanted to get rid of because they didn't want anybody getting it.
Was it like shooting pool? Did they shoot it thinking, oh, it's going to go over and hit
it was
that
clearly
Chinese
a
satellite?
mistake. They thought they must have somebody goofed and the debris. It was a chain reaction. The debris hit something they didn't expect. Because at first they said, "Oh, just so you know, they did this. It's way below your orbit."
Yeah, first they thought they were behind.
And then all of a sudden they're like, wait, get back in, because it was a chain reaction. The thing started hitting other stuff, and as that started hitting other stuff, and then it made this huge mess. Again, the likelihood of that happening, I don't know. There's a lot of space trash, so it's amazing how much we've put up in 50, 60 years, 70 years. How much junk is out there.
Well, I mean, at the same time, it made me think, because I know you're a huge UFO fan, Michael. It made me think of
the whole episode about space junk.
There was an episode of UFO, strangely prescient, about the aliens hiding their little monsters,
right? It was like
device inside the space junk.
And you know what? When you think about it, I don't want to jump off onto UFO, but that was again some great writing, because that was made in 1970. So that was still relatively early in all the space programs. So there probably wasn't as much, but they were thinking ahead that there's all this crap now going to be floating around there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Okay, so there you go. So good thing, Doc. We should have had you on with Phil.
Yeah, we should have had you on too, Doc.
China didn't sign, so.
Okay, well, that is true. That is true. There is
just ignoring her.
There is Chinese debris, falling on people all the time now.
China,
great.
Well, there's also SpaceX debris falling on people too. So
great. Yeah,
but you know what? He all he needs to do is write a check, and that'll be forgiven. I actually saw it. It was funny. I was outside. And I think, what was I doing? I was getting the mail or something, but it was nighttime, and I saw coming up from the west Starlinks coming over.
Oh yeah, the
hill.
Starlinks are going up all the time, and apparently they're coming down all the time too.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, oh yeah, stuff like we were just talking about. Junk comes down the time. Bill has posted. Bill is teaching us the secret way to track this stuff. Not secret. I'm kidding.
It's all tracked by some kind of thing. I'm not going to click on Bill because it's probably malware.
It's Wikipedia. How bad could it be?
I'm only kidding. So anyway,
anyway, this movie kind of lived in my head for a while.
Why, Phil? What was it that
I just had to come back to it.
I'm sorry, Phil. I'm not grabbing it. It just didn't.
That's okay.
It was a movie, and it was entertaining. I don't want to say that I hated it, because I didn't hate it. But
I think of it in terms of as a work of art. I think of it like in terms of like a painting and a work of art. A painting doesn't, watches really aren't melted and hanging off trees, but it is, part of a work of art. And that's how I see this. I see this as, a journey. There are moments in this film that are amazingly artistic. When she's curled up in the fetal position in the airlock, when she's trying to get inside the Chinese station as it skips across the atmosphere, is absolutely terrifying.
There are a lot of terrifying. Yeah.
There was the effect of the deployed parachute on the ISS, absolutely terrifying as the stuff comes flying by. The way it all stitched together, it was, in my mind, it was like I felt like everybody was working together in a really profound ballet, following this director's vision. Everyone who says this is an inaccurate, whatever, they're absolutely right, but you don't go to the Museum of Modern Art and critique Picasso because he doesn't look like a bull, because it doesn't look like a person.
Phil,
So
I
that's
gotta
how
say,
I approach this as a work of art.
I agree. I completely agree. I completely agree with you. When I watched the behind the scenes, first of all, I know Rizzo, you didn't like Sandra, but I gotta give her props. She carried this thing. It's literally her alone for most of the film.
It's like it's pretty much a cast of two.
She carried it, and when you watch the behind the scenes stuff, like shooting some of that spinning stuff,
You watch that? That was yeah. You watch those extras? They invented.
Lights are going around her, and walls or the pieces, stuff is going around. Like unbelievable the work they did to shoot all
in 2013.
I'm not taking anything. No, I don't want to take anything away from the film visually. It was. I could tell. I was sitting there watching, going, I'm watching this in the wrong medium. I should be watching this in an IMAX theater.
Yeah,
I get it, and it was very. Released in 3D. The visuals were amazing. And I don't. Like you say, when I say I just don't. She's just not my favorite actor in serious roles. Actress. I mean, I just think she's better as a comedic roles. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying her performance.
I thought parts of it. I think she's fine either way. I don't have anything against her. I was kind of grateful that she wasn't over sexualized in this movie because I think she's a beautiful woman, and she does spend half of the movie in her underwear. But at the same time, it wasn't really a lurid sort of thing. She was just, she was basically somebody at work. This is her job. It was her job, and then this is part of her job. And when you watch her get through all this stuff, I don't think they foxed her up anywhere. I'm sure she had makeup and stuff, but to me, it didn't really seem like she did.
No,
so I really appreciate that. While she's
that would have made it really bad if they had tried to put her in really skimpy outfit or something, in underwear or something. I think it would have totally ruined the entire vibe of the movie.
It makes me think of the final scene in the movie Alien where Sigourney Weaver is there in these little bikini briefs,
really underwear, really tiny underwear.
And I'm like, this is for 15-year-olds, and I appreciate that because I was 15 once, but at the same time, it was sort of like have her face the monster as vulnerable as possible. At the same time, it just became a little exploitive for me,
See, I didn't see it that way with Alien. I never looked at it because of all she had been through, and that was like her sex. Seeing her as a sex symbol at that point was wasn't working for me. I mean, it certainly didn't. I didn't see it that way. I mean, yeah, she was in a definitely skimpy outfit. There's no question about it. But they could have put her in something a little less revealing, probably. And I don't know what. Maybe you're right. Maybe the decision was, hey, let's just get a little TNA at the end, just for whatever reason. It didn't.
No, because that scene.
But I never saw it that way.
The scene where she gets into the Soyuz and she does that, and she's just floating, framed by the circle of the door. Phil, imagine that, and she's wearing long sleeves and long pants. It doesn't have the same impact, and it's not a sexual impact. It is you were right. It's that rebirth impact.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think Bullock is a beautiful woman. I loved her in Speed. I've watched her in other things.
Miss Congeniality.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one, but
that's fun.
But she played it so well in my mind. She played it as a person with a terrible burden. That she had this terrible burden, and there are moments, and that was one of the moments where she just stops to breathe, and that was that one moment. The other moment where you kind of got that effect was when she hits her head with the fire extinguisher, when the ISS is on fire, and she sprays the extinguisher and it pushes her backwards into the wall.
That was another moment. I'm like, you were trained in space. You should have known that was going to happen. I saw it coming. I said, as soon as she fires that thing off, she's going flying across the cap. But you know what? That was a setup.
Yeah,
that was clearly a setup so that later when she used it as the rocket, that she knew that reaction. When
what is it? What is the term, Michael? A gun in Act One.
It's Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, that was it was Chekhov's fire.
The gun in Act One. You know what's going on in Act 3.
Yeah. Well, the fact that she made a point to drag it through.
Yeah,
the fire's coming. Most people would have shoved it out of the way and closed the thing. She pulled it in.
Yeah.
And the fire in the ISS is terrifying. You know, it's just
I don't
you
know how
meant,
she
you know,
didn't notice it when she walked. She
Yeah, she
floated by
floated
it.
right
The thing's
by
going
it.
straight there, and I'm like,
It had
I,
been-
you know what? It's that was for us. That was for us. You know, again, this is the author of the movie is telling us she doesn't see it, you do, so you know what's going on. You know,
it's coming,
so
yeah.
he's telegraphing stuff like that. You know, and yeah, she didn't see it.
Chekhov's fire.
Chekhov's fire and Chekhov's fire extinguisher. But
And
yeah,
Chekhov.
I'm glad we talked about this because in my mind, I used to compare this movie to Interstellar, and I have like a lot more problems with Interstellar than I have with this movie.
oh well, Interstellar just gives me a headache.
Yeah,
Yeah, Interstellar is you gotta think, you gotta use your noodle a
At
whole
the
lot
ending,
more
your
for that
No.
one.
ending really hurts your brain.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just okay. It's our own people for the whatever.
I,
I'm like, whoa.
my interpretation of Interstellar is that he's being taken apart by the black hole molecule by molecule, and these are his dying
The
hallucinations.
hallucinations of a dying mind. Once again. The
Yeah, I love
hallucinations
that.
of a dying
That's
mind.
my go-to thing. That's my go-to thing.
That's
For
our
anything
new
I don't
band
I
like.
mean, that's as good an explanation as any. You know, I mean, it was the 2001 ending. Nobody really knows what exactly happened.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because that's what art is.
The
You
hallucinations of a
you
dying
have to.
That's what we did 2001. They were like, how do we end this? We don't know. Come up with something.
That's how it's supposed to work. Oh, anyway, I did. Speaking of Chekhov's gun, here's Chekhov's Captain Kirk. So I mentioned at the beginning of the show that Shatner sort of like played a role in my mind. You know, when I was looking at this movie. So I have to do that now, otherwise I will fail the Chekhov's gun analogy.
Yes. What was the Shatner connection?
So in watching this and enjoying it and like having it live in my mind and the reason why I bought the DVD was because I couldn't stream it without paying for it. And I was like, if I'm going to pay $3 or $4 to watch this thing once, I might as well go full tilt boogie and get the whole thing. And I did. And I'm so glad I did because I was able to see, you know, all the different documentaries and stuff, especially the making of, where they made that rig that you were talking about, Mary Beth, you know, with the helmets and everything. It was just astonishing the work they did. But overall, as you travel through the story of the movie and you travel through everything she has to deal with, it made me think of what Shatner said when he came down. What was it? What was he on? Was he on Blue Horizon? Was that what it was
Blue
called?
Horizon, yeah.
Blue Horizon. All right,
Blue
Blue
Horizon.
Horizon was a movie, I guess. So when he came down, he said when he was up there, he saw death. That there's nothing up there. He saw death, and I remember thinking, I remember being annoyed because you know the rich bastards who flew with him were like all high fiving and popping champagne, and Shatner seemed to be having like, you know,
Metaphysical moment.
He was having a bit of an emotional, he was having an
moment there,
moment.
and they're all like, we got to ride in the rocket with Captain Kirk, and I'm like, yeah, this was death, you know, and Shatner cheated death by riding that rocket and coming
Well, I'll
back.
tell you, as
And so
somebody
did Ryan, you know.
so somebody who got to speak to him personally, you know, on kind of a casual, this gave that experience really gave him, and I think you talk to most astronauts, anybody that has been in space, when he saw even from that low orbit, because he's not even in orbit, he's just over the line there. He's like, you could see the Earth and you see it as a whole, all a ball, and you see how small it is compared to the rest of space and how fragile we're on this thing. And he became much more aware of all the environmental concerns. I mean, he even felt, not to get political, but he felt with the current administration that that election might be the death blow to the planet, because if we're pulling out all these accords. And
he's absolutely
you know
right.
what I'm saying? He even felt, he was seriously talking about that. He was like, this might be the thing that eventually that kicks us. We were on the edge, and now we fell over because there's no hope. We're never going to get any. You know, we have to pull back on everything we're doing to save this planet. There's no place else to go. It's like Neil deGrasse Tyson says, Mars is not our lifeboat. If we can terraform Mars, we should be able to fix this planet. That's we're not doing that. So
if we have the technology to terraform Mars, we would have technology.
Should be no reason to go to Mars. So I think that's what Shatner got from, at least one of the things he got from, again, speaking to him, because we were talking about the environment. And and stuff like that a little bit as we were driving back and forth to the set tour. So
You really hit the jackpot
yeah,
that last show. I mean,
I was telling Mary Beth,
I was
just
so
a
happy for you,
lifetime
man. That is so
experience.
I
fantastic.
was happy
yeah,
for him too.
it was. If I ever get to do it again, it would be amazing. But to have him be able to do it once was, it was. I can't.
You
Words
deserve it,
don't come
seriously.
very well on that
just-
experience.
I think everybody watching knows, but somehow somebody's watching doesn't know. Mr. Shatner comes to the set tour twice a year, where Rizzo and I are both volunteers. Actually, you are kind of there too, Phil. And Rizzo got to be on the security team, and he got to be Mr. Shatner's driver. So, yeah,
Hours in the car, sitting next to me.
hours in
There's
the
going
car.
to be a movie about Rizzo. There's going to be a movie about Rizzo driving Mr. Shatner.
I had to fill in for the regular guy who's Joel Barnes, who gets to do it twice a year. I am so jealous of him. I was before. Now I am like, you suck so bad that you get to do this twice a year.
They're like fun. They're like on a first name basis. They're like buddies.
I know. Yeah, Bill calls him. Yeah.
Does he really? Oh,
I did not get
can
called.
you imagine
dear,
that?
so
Can you imagine that your phone's ringing?
apparently, if Bill calls you dear, then you're like in the inner sight. I did not get called dear, so I did not rose to the level of dear.
We'll try to get you in again so you can move on.
Yeah,
Rizzo, you'll always be dear to us. So.
Yes, you're always dear to
Not as
us.
good as Shatner, but
He shook my hand. He said you did a great job, and so that's all I needed from him. So
it's awesome.
and he bought me dinner.
He bought you dinner.
Yeah, and he had great guests. He invited that other fellow there.
Oh yes, Mo.
from
I can't
Mo.
think of Mo's last name.
Yeah, he was brilliant. Just such a he was as good a dinner guest as Bill. Bill's sitting here, and this guy's sitting across from me, and I'm like the village idiot between I'm just saying Mo was brilliant. Cool. And Mo was like such on another plane.
Can you briefly kind of give Mo's backstory? What
he was from the Sudan. Is that?
Yeah,
he was like literally born like naked and afraid in a hut. This guy, and he was refugee. I think it was Sudan. I'm not up on my African nation, sorry, but it was one of the ones that's not in great shape. I didn't get his whole story. Eventually, he was able to immigrate to the U.S. Got to go to college. Went to Embry-Riddle for engineering. He's now an engineer for Blue Origin. So, and he's working on their next level of rocket. That's not just a joyride. That this thing's going to actually start challenging SpaceX for stuff. But you could tell this is a guy who, and you talk about bringing immigrants and stuff. This guy was brilliant. And he was doing math equations on the napkin, showing how motivation or momentum that Shatner creates. It was like he was and Bill looking at each other, going, "Holy crap!" It's like we look at. He's doing formulas on napkins. This guy, like I said, he's the kind of type of person that'll come and cure cancer or something. But he was just fascinating to talk to, and he's a huge Star Trek fan. That's why he was there. He was just there as a guest. He wasn't there because of Bill. Well, he was there because of Bill, but Bill didn't invite him. Bill met him there and then invited him to dinner.
Yes, Bill met him.
Wait, oh, wow. So he what? He took the set tour, hit it off with Bill. Bill invited him to dinner.
Yeah, Bill likes to track in on people that have interesting backgrounds, and this guy.
Yeah, Bill knew him before because I got the email from Gary saying, "Please put aside 2 VIP."
Okay. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, so I apologize. Understate, but he knew him from before. But somehow he met him somewhere, and was.
See, that's what makes Shatner so cool, because he's intellectually curious at 93 years old.
Oh yeah.
He's such a forward thinker. And that's so cool. That is really.
I don't remember Mo's name, Sue. I'm sorry. She's asking what his full name was.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sue.
Well, I'll tell you, we were driving, and I don't know how we got on NASA stuff, and we were talking about Apollo 1, and I think I was telling him about Doc's talk about NASA close calls and stuff, and we're talking about Apollo 1, and I was rattling off all the astronauts and what happened, and he looks at me, he goes, "How do you know all?" And I said, it's just a thing that I'm interested in, so I know more about it. It's not like I'm some kind of encyclopedia, but he's just very, very curious all the time. He's constantly asking questions. All he does, and he'll drill down. If you don't feel he doesn't get the answer. I don't know how many of you guys were there when we did the Otoy premiere. Before that, you remember he was Mary Beth, were you in there at this point? He was asking, somebody said something about pixels and how many pixels.
Oh God, yes.
And he
was
goes, well,
in
what's
there,
a pixel? He asks about
and
what's a
I had a
pixel?
moment of like, all right, come, let's just roll the
And
film.
he's like, instead of like, well, it's this, and he goes, well, what's
was
that?
doing
Like he
it.
wouldn't
You
let
want to
it
know how
go.
LED screens work?
Yeah, he wouldn't let it go until he got an answer that he felt satisfied with. So, like, what is a pixel? So, anyway, he's just that kind of guy. We're way off the gravity topic, but
That's
No,
what-
but it's,
Welcome to
we're on
Sci-Fi
it because it's like it ties in. The whole thing ties in because he's been there, you know, and
Yeah.
he was there as he brought something profound to it, even though he was there at the toy as like a billionaire's toy, you know, because they wanted to take a ride with Captain Kirk. But out of it, Bill was able to exploit that and get something profound and amazing. And when I listened to Bill talk about it, it sort of lived in my head a little bit, and it revisited my head in this movie. I felt the same sort of thing, especially as she's clinging to life as the Chinese station is going down. You know, I just heard Bill's voice. It's like I looked up there and there was blackness, there was nothing, there was death. The way he said it, you know, in one of
we
his
said
interviews.
like Bill.
yeah.
Yeah, he's exactly. And then I had that in my head as Ryan is climbing, trying to get into the Chinese station and get to that last lifeboat before everything burns up. So
And I'll tell you one thing: he has a great sense of humor. He will come out with something, and we were just like floored because it was just the like stupidest
He's
thing, but
so sharp.
he was just he wasn't like even it wasn't like you could tell. The nicest thing I get about the experience I got, you got to see Bill turned off, not in I'm Bill Shatner.
Yeah, not
you know what I'm
performing
saying?
mode.
Presenting to people, he has a certain persona that he has to everybody, and it's not very different from the non-public Bill, if you will. But you get this; he's a little bit different when he's just like around people that he feels comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was just like he would just come out with these things as we're driving. I'm like, you know, it was just hysterical. Like the car.
well, I have to tell you, Michael, that there's got to be something to bring him back. You know, because it can't, you know, because it has to be the experience of him doing this. I think he has, on some level, there must be something really special in Bill that he just appreciates the amount of effort and creativity.
Oh no, he loves. You're talking about the set tour.
The set tour. He connects.
He
with
loves
the
it there.
audience.
He said. I heard him say. He says, if I have to stop doing events, this will be the last one that I stop doing.
Yeah.
Like this will be the last event that I don't, whether conventions. He's like, he absolutely loves coming up there.
Yeah, because it doesn't compare to sitting in like a crowded hotel in New Jersey at Chiller Theater.
Yeah, it's not just he doesn't.
City, you know,
it's not acting at that point. He loves to interact. He loves the fact that he gets to talk to these people, you know, one on one, and he loves pulling out that information. Somebody has a unique job.
Admittedly, the set tour draws some interesting people with interesting jobs. I'm always our attendees.
Well, that's the thing. He likes to know. He says, if you know, point him out. Like, tell him that guy.
It was special to the last one I did. The most recent one I did. Some of my friends from ReaderCon and BossCon showed up and were at my table, and then they remembered me. They were like the people who do they do your job, Mary Beth, at BossCon.
Yes.
And so and ReaderCon, so they remembered me. It's like, oh, you're Phil Merkel, you know, and it was just nice. You know what I mean? It was just like a moment. There was like a moment there. We had like a nice little chat, you know, and I was explaining why I don't go to BossCon anymore because it's too expensive.
We used to go there back in the New Voyage days. Yeah.
I think I saw you guys. I definitely saw James. No, I saw him at a United Fan Con. You know, I probably missed you guys at a BossCon, but I went to a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure which ones you went to. But
I only went to one. I don't remember what year.
Remember what year our last one was?
Maybe.
Were they actually in Boston? Because they spent a lot of years outside of Boston.
Yeah, there definitely was
in the city or not?
Yeah, it was in Boston.
It was in Boston. It was right in the harbor.
In Boston. Yeah, it was right in the harbor. Yeah.
Oh, so you were in the new hotel then? Okay, you were.
I want to say the Westin. I'm not sure.
It was the Hill. Yeah, it was one of the bigger names. I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I used to love BossCon, but that's neither here nor there. But I love Ticonderoga.
It is 8 o'clock. It is 8 o'clock. So
thank you for indulging me. I had a really good time.
You don't. Okay, you gonna do Roy? I was gonna let
Yeah,
Phil have it.
Roy's actually got an interesting one Friday night. He's doing Dune, and he's doing the good one, the Kyle MacLachlan Dune.
The good one. Well, I know that Bruce and Kent apparently disagree with you on
They
that
can
one.
fight with me. I don't care. I think
I agree.
better.
I think it's better than some of the newer stuff. I
think
know
it's
some of
better
the newer
than
stuff has
Dennis
more flash,
Newman.
but I like the 84, was it, or whatever it was, version
that's
better
this.
because I've always felt it explained the story better than the current versions. So,
Agree, completely agree.
yeah. So Phil, what do you got going on?
I'm on tomorrow with Bill McNulty, and I'm on also for my own show. I was trying to get some guests for my show, but there's a conflict, so I'll probably just be spinning music. I know Bill doesn't. Unfortunately, Bill McNulty does not watch Sci-Fi Distilled, so I will spill this information here and now. In the next 2 months, we're going to be celebrating Bill McNulty. In March, he's going to be turning 90 years old.
Oh, God bless him.
So God bless Bill McNulty. We're on from noon to 2 o'clock every Thursday talking politics. Bill is very liberal. Is a very liberal 90-year-old. They're going to have a big celebration for him on February 9th. And then we're probably going to be doing some other things like talking about his history and things like that. I'm trying to get him some media. I'm trying to get him like interviewed by the local news channel, stuff like that. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I think there's something special about a 90-year-old DJ. So there you go.
Yeah,
he's a riot. I listen sometimes when you're on Thursdays, and
I have a feeling he's going to be. I have a feeling he's going to be on fire tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I'm on Friday Night Freeform. Although I will tell everybody, go to WUSB.FM. The new schedule is coming out in the next week or two. We have a new program director. She seems pretty decent right now. Knock on wood. So we'll see what happens. But
she said, "Don't let those two wackadoo sci-fi idiots you have on."
No more Distilled on your show,
especially on the political shows. Don't put them on the political show.
Don't put them on the political shows.
That was great fun. That was great fun.
I actually did enjoy that. We had a good time. It was nice to be outside the normal and be able to kind of riff on things.
Oh, yeah. We don't normally ever talk about. Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't get firebombed at the studio or something for that. Some of that stuff.
No, because we're very under the radar. We're very under the radar. It's not like Rizzo. It's not like you're Episcopalian preacher talking, from the podium. It's not like that,
Anyway, all right. On that note, I don't know. We had talked about doing a top 10 type show. If you guys, I don't know if you
want to do our first ever top 10 next week.
We could try to do it. We're going to do. If you listen to the Trek Experts over the holidays, they did like top 10 Star Trek episodes that involved pick a topic. The holodeck, top 10 holodeck episodes out of all the series. Top 10 war related or something like that. So we were thinking of doing. I was thinking of actually doing this once a month. So that we would pick it would be Star Trek, and we will pick our top 10, and it will be us agreeing on the top 10. So it wouldn't be like my top 10 or Mary Beth's top 10. It would be the kind of a consensus.
So stay tuned to find out, can we agree?
So can we pull that off by next week? I don't know. We need a topic, though. Top 10 what?
Captains.
Phil, you have an opinion?
Well, top 10 captains, Captain Phil. That's the no-brainer.
We sort of did that when we did.
Obviously.
I don't want to do the captains because we've done that sort of. We did that already where we went through all the captains, kind of rated them.
You know what? I would do top 10 ships. And exclude the Enterprise. Top 10 ships from all the series.
Top 10 ships that were not the Enterprise.
Besides the OG.
Yeah.
Besides the OG or all other, we include everything past from A.
I would top 10 ships that aren't NCC 1701 and its children.
So we can put the Defiant. Yeah. So it could be anything.
Yeah.
Top 10 ships. All right, Bill's saying top 10 ships. So all right, we'll do that. That should be relatively easy and painless.
Wow, that was easy.
So we're not doing no bloody A, B, C, D.
Or D. No, we could do
no Enterprises.
A, B, C. We just aren't going to do Kirk's ship. We'll do the rest of them.
Because we know that one's the best, period.
Because we know we're biased. We work on it. We work on a starship.
It is my favorite. There's no question about it. That's always going to be my number one.
It's
So,
iconic, man.
so we're doing any ship that's not 1701, no bloody
Yeah,
ABC.
because I'm gonna pick the D because I like the D.
You can pick the D, and we have to pick 10 though.
Yeah, we gotta pick 10.
So, and we have to agree. This is the problem.
The D is a cruise
This
ship.
is the
We
problem.
have to
The D
agree.
is
And
the
we're not
love
going to
boat.
agree that the D is number one. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No, it's not number one. I gotta think about it. I have to
All
look.
right,
I
we're
know
going
I
to do
really
that.
have to go look at pictures of the
Stuart
ships.
had a suggestion: top 10 cool science episodes. Not sure.
I nominate the flying
Yeah,
egg
we'll
that
come up with
Data was with, that Data talked to.
Egg that Data was with.
What
What
was
was
it
it,
now?
Gorath? What was his name? The living spaceship that looked like it was in the shape of an egg that the guy melded with in one of the next.
Oh,
gen
that
episodes.
was what? Yeah.
That was kind
Have
of
there
name
been
of that
10
thing?
Enterprises, Bill? Yeah, maybe there
Does that
have.
count as a ship because it was a living creature?
Yeah,
cool.
it was like Moya.
Yeah.
on
What was the
Farscape.
name of that one? That was the one with the guy. Yeah, he was like a telepath, and he kept.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, he
I
merged
can't
with it.
remember the name of the thing. Well, we'll look it up. We got sources. Google.
Yeah.
Bill's saying top 10 enterprises. That's lame. I mean, that's too easy. We kind of that's. I mean,
I don't know.
Tin
The
Man?
Reliant has to be in
there's
there
only
somewhere.
been like 10, so it's like
Well,
just put them
it's
in
the
order.
Earth Enterprises. You could throw them into the mix.
Yeah,
I think the Reliant needs to be in there. The Reliant is a
the
beautiful.
Reliant's a good one. The
Reliant's a good
Miranda
ship.
class is a
The
good ship.
Defiant's a good ship.
But Defiance up there.
The Titan was a good ship until they renamed it.
The Titan.
I don't like
was
the Titan. Yeah, the Titan I don't like.
Pretty
I
much.
don't know, rubbed you the
A
wrong
A
way.
lot of, just pick a John Eves ship and you're good. Any of the ones
Now I
that
gotta
John
go.
Eves.
What about did
Alan
Stargazer.
what about one of those animated series?
It
Freighter?
doesn't. Now mind
know?
you, it doesn't have to be a Federation ship.
Yeah. What
It's
about the
just-
Saladin? You know, the one that was in this was the Saladin ever in an episode? The one with that had the primary hull, the same as the Enterprise, and the one nacelle.
The
Hanging off
Cerritos. Yes.
Cerritos absolutely.
Cerritos is definitely in there. Oh, I know what
Cerritos
you're
is in
talking
there.
about. That was I forgot what class that was.
We're basically doing mixed
I
show
don't
now.
think the single nacelle. It wasn't. It might have been in JJ
yeah,
Trek.
it was the Yorktown, wasn't it?
Yorktown wasn't. None. I don't think there was any of this. Maybe
The single
I'm gonna-
nacelle was. Hang on, now I gotta.
Was it in any episodes anywhere?
I don't know if it was in any episodes. I forgot what class that is.
I have like a little model of it.
I think it might have been in a JJ Trek. I want to
Maybe.
say.
Maybe
You might be right.
Hermes. It was a Hermes class. I don't know what his name was. The Larson? I don't know.
Yeah, Cerrito. We didn't have California. We'll definitely be including the Cerritos probably in the list. I think. Again, that's kind of another sort of Miranda class sort of esque thing.
Yeah. I always loved the tug too from the technical manual. The ones that could tow the big tube carriers or whatever. So if you ever
well, there's the freighter too from the animated series.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Which again, not only is it canon, but they brought it back in. I think they brought it back in Lower Decks.
I thought the Botany Bay was cool looking, even though it was a submarine. It came out of like a submarine model kit, but I thought it was
clearly there was some kit bashing with
So
that.
Jeff wants to know if we're going to include shuttlecraft and runabouts.
Anything, I guess at this point, we'll include it.
the Aqua Shuttle from the animated series.
Aqua
That was
Shuttle.
a cool one.
Are we just going to include things that are canon? In other words, that were in something or stuff that had like the
Like
Matt
fan
Jeffries shuttle concept before the one that was really cool looking and round and everything before they came up with the shuttle that we all love, the Galileo version, so to speak. Anyway,
Serious.
that's it could be Klingon bird of prey, Romulan bird of prey. It's all going to be thrown in there. We're not just talking.
I have to tell you something. The next gen Romulan ships I always thought were terrible. I loved the bird of prey from the original series, but the next gen.
My cloaked bird of prey tattoo. Check it out.
The yucks. Okay, we're past the hour. I want to let people go.
Yes.
I don't know, going up on a tangent.
We'll do top 10 ships of some kind, not the Enterprise original, the OG.
And thanks for indulging me.
No,
Thanks
it's
for
a great.
indulging me. Thank you.
great-
No,
Good time.
it's always a pleasure. I love when people come on and they're passionate about a
Yes.
film, and I'm sorry if I trashed it for you.
No, I actually, I literally expected it because I knew there were issues on that point of view, and I knew you were going to go there. But I don't know, it was just sort of like it was like a virus. It
Like
infected
I said,
me.
to me, it just takes me out of the whole story when I start to see one thing compounding after another, and I go, yeah. It's like when I get
Aw.
frustrated. Like I get frustrated with Discovery when they
Old
start.
man shouts at cloud.
Yeah, old man shakes hand. That's it. That's me.
All right.
All right. On
And
that note, I will say good night. Thank you again, Phil and Mary Beth. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, live long and prosper. And as always, may the force be with you.